when comedians get butthurt by criticism.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck about the drama. I mean, the drama is such like, grow up. Give me a fucking break. I don't give a fuck about your judgmental opinion because you yourself are not on high. Unless you're not, are you tweeting your hate at me from a phone?
The reason why comedians hate each other, because they have nothing else to talk about. Picture this. Their job is to essentially riff forever. Problem is, everyone's all slopped out. There's only so much to talk about. And a lot of these guys don't want to delve into topics that are unsafe. It's a huge problem. But the audience is not dumb. And sometimes they demand more of their favorite comedians, talking heads, commentators. They want to know what they think so that they can position their own ideas.
That was mined from lithium by people that were...
Who am I kidding? The audience is most definitely probably dumb. But they are aware.
What are you talking about? Who made your car? Where'd you get gas? Who made your clothes?
Comedians are some of the most sensitive people alive. Like, compared to nearly every other entertainer in the world, they seem to get the most rattled in the face of negative
People say that they don't care, actually care the most. There's a lesson in there, that's right.
criticism, which is just completely ironic considering that they've all made careers out of negatively criticizing just about everything under the sun. Like, it's been one...
See, a lot of comedy appeals to the inherent negativity bias that humans have. I'll admit it. Negative talk, content, jokes always go so much harder.
Whole month since the Saudi Arabian Comedy Festival happened, and some of the biggest comedians that performed there are still melting down about it on their podcasts, almost acting shocked that their actions
It would be hard to do stand-up comedy in LA because of how woke it is, which is probably why all of them moved to Austin, which then created the Joe Rogan comedy bubble effect. And now you have all this infighting and pseudo-civil war.
Have actually had irreversible long-term consequences. For example, Bill Burr still can't believe that he was negatively criticized for taking money from the Saudi government, even though he spent years on his podcast morally grandstanding against...
Bill Burr with hair is a jump scare. That's when I was initially introduced to Bill Burr. When he went bald, he went soy. And I don't know if there's a lesson in there. Normally, it's the opposite. You go bald... That's radical self-acceptance. That's a high T maneuver.
Entertainers who did exactly that.
Beyonce and Mariah Carey actually did private New Year's gigs for $1 million. Did New Year's gigs for Gaddafi's kids. Can you fucking believe that? How much fucking money do you need to make? You know, you're gonna take a gig where you're gonna go dance like a goddamn.
2 New York City female comedians were better than all the others at the show. When I saw stand-up comedy, I saw. Stavros Halkias and I saw Shane Gillis. Those are the most 2 recent ones, but this was even still a year and then 2 or 3 years ago. Some of the funniest comedians were the women as the warm-up act. And it's probably because women can get away with more, with kind of pushing the boundaries because they have the implicit, I'm a woman. If you're a man and you say some hoe-scaring shit, it's like, wait, was he being serious? Which there is comedy in there as well. You see Sam Hyde do that a lot, which is why I find him very funny, because sometimes the funniest shit has a bit of venom or toxicity to it, in my opinion, even if it's unhinged.
Can clown for a mass murderer's kids, then you take that fucking blood money. And what he's done, you couldn't remember that he claimed he was behind the Pan Am bombings that killed fellow Americans? The fuck is wrong with you?
And if you've been following his crash out at all, then you'd know that he's essentially exhausted every single excuse that he could think of to justify his performance there. And since that obviously didn't work, he's now just resorted to threatening the comics who criticized him for going. But just the other day, Bill Burr was on his podcast insinuating that he would verbally eat Mark Maron alive if he ever catches him in public.
How? He's just going to talk loudly and never let him speak?
The internet, the inner web of lies. I'm still thinking about that bullshit from a few weeks ago. That was a fucking...
I would say at its core, Sam Hyde is more of a comedian than 99% of these guys. Oh, 100%. He's multi-talented with the different mediums as well. Various art forms. Sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, off the cuff, just riffing. Stand-up comedy is a limited art form. That's why they gatekeep it. That's why it has this prestige, or at least it used to, because it used to mean something. But now everyone does it to clip farm and everyone tries to be a stand-up comedian, except there's no aura.
What a bunch of fucking... Oh, that was one of the hardest things ever, to keep my mouth shut and just not trash every one of those fucking cunts. Oh, am I looking forward to running into a few people. Hey, what's the latest? What's the latest on you caring about? It's weird. All of a sudden you don't care anymore? What happened?
Which then leads to an oversaturated market. And then you have people co-opting and stealing jokes. And then you have trends that inherently become unfunny. Whenever there's mass adoption of something, it ruins it, if you haven't noticed.
What happened? You flapping your fucking goddamn arms up and down. What happened? What's your cause this month to help sell whatever project you're on, you anyway.
And Bill Burr saying this
Mark Maron is hair-mogging him.
about Maron is just so funny, because Maron told maybe 3 little jokes about the Riyadh Comedy Festival on stage, and he didn't even mention anyone's names. It seems that Bill is just coping with the fact that his audience is Brendan Schaubifying him in real time, especially after he came home and exploded on his fans in front of a live
The white man's self-hatred is so tired at this point. Stop the virtue signaling. That's never going to happen for Bill Burr. He's long-housed into oblivion.
Conan O'Brien audience and on his own podcast twice.
How dare you go to that place and make those oppressed people laugh, you fucking piece of shit! I can't believe you went to that place I can't find on a map, and this bot said I was upset about it, so now I am.
Like, he totally butchered his response to the backlash and is now just taking it out on Maron because he's apparently an easy target for these comedians to go after. Like, in the last couple weeks, Maron was mentioned by name on 3 huge separate podcasts. And whenever his name's brought up, it's very clear that he's gotten under all of their skin, because they almost always just insult Maron without even a hint of a punchline. Like on the Flagrant episode where they address the Riyadh Festival, when Maron's
I don't really listen to Mark Maron. I don't think I've heard a single joke other than him roasting the people that did the Riyadh Comedy Festival. But the fact that he's living in everyone's head rent-free is kind of hilarious on its own.
name came up, Schultz and his designated butt wiper, Akash, were furious with Mark Maron, saying he can't sell out shows outside of Brooklyn, that none of his fans are minorities, and that he's just jealous that he didn't get the invitation to Riyadh.
Kind of like the local politics of how
that's the thing when these fucking comics are like trying to be self-aware when they're shitting on us. They're like, just for the record, we didn't get an invite to the Riyadh.
We know you didn't.
Yeah.
You can't perform outside of Brooklyn.
Exactly. Like,
you do musical theater crowd work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, your comedy isn't good. Why would they want you?
Look at that audience of yours. I bet I can count the minorities on one hand.
What a sacrifice to not go to the festival you weren't invited to.
Yeah, they don't know you exist. It's not because you're a problem. It's not because you speak truth to power.
Yeah.
It's because you speak truth to upper middle class white people and 10 minorities who want to fuck upper middle class white people.
Just pat yourselves on the back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Go to a Mark Maron show. Count the minorities.
Exactly. Yeah,
I doubt you get. I doubt you get to the second hand.
Yeah. Where are those minorities he cares so much about?
We're measuring comedians' renown based off how many minorities they have. Well, I actually have a very diverse audience.
And just remember, guys, that Mark Maron literally said 3 light jokes on stage about the comedians going. And when you go back and watch that again, all this stuff seems disproportionately aimed at Mark.
That's a soy-ass KPI. Here at Third Eye Global, kick.com/Philion, we only have the highest T GigaChad key performance indicators.
You know, like from the folks that brought you 9/11.
Maybe if they focused more on jokes and less on who's in their audience, they'd actually be funny. That is the truest thing I heard all day.
2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase.
That's actually true. He's talking about MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, allegedly. I mean, that is the crown prince. Jamal Khashoggi was he a diplomat? No, he was a journalist. Absolutely massacred. And then they lied about it. They're like, no, he actually left the embassy. The security footage wasn't there. Just kidding. We actually found who chopped him up, and he's in jail now.
But don't let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I was not asked to perform.
And that was literally all Mark Maron said about the festival in public. Just some light jokes that contained pretty reasonable criticism. And again, nobody was mentioned by name. So it just seems pretty weird to make him the face of the people exposing the Saudi Arabian festival. The only logical explanation that can explain this is that it all leads back to Joe Rogan. You see, Mark Maron and Joe Rogan have been mortal enemies since the early 90s. So by publicly bashing Mark Maron, they're subtly siding with their Lord and Savior, Joseph H. Rogan. And all the Rogan Sphere guys are shamelessly doing this, despite some of them agreeing with everything Mark said on their own podcasts. Like just the other day on Theo Von's podcast, Andrew Santino took issue with Mark Maron and how he criticizes other comedians, speaking as if he was some pure comedy angel who would never support
But then he just went on Joe Rogan's podcast and pretended like nothing happened.
comics taking others down in the community, as he puts it.
Oh, how was the comedy festival you guys went to? Was it good?
In Riyadh?
Yeah.
Wild, dude. It was crazy. Well, the backlash on the internet was even more insane. It was insane.
That stuff seemed ridiculous to me, though.
Well, dude,
did you feel like it was?
Everyone is a walking contradiction, and there's a million miles of hypocrisy in people's arguments. And the fact that the community was attacking each other was very
Can't flip your values based on who you're trying to appease. No aura type behavior.
strange to me.
Yeah, I haven't delved into
I
it.
don't
Well, it's
find
fine. People can feel
Mark funny, but he's a good troll. Sometimes trolling is necessary.
how they feel about it. That's fine. That the world will keep spinning. When someone's like, you know, they're all terrorists, and you're like, 8 million people in Riyadh are all of them are terrorists?
Yes. That's how that works.
What are you talking about? And they go, well, they did 9/11. And you're like, I thought we said we did 9/11. What do you I thought, remember when you guys were all like, we did it? I thought they said we did. I just think
Well,
there's
we all know who did it.
I think there's a lot of walking contradictions.
Oh,
and
100%.
Well, so it's hard for me to have, it's hard for anyone to yell so loud.
I don't like Theo Von because he appeals to people who have like level 1 basic conspiracy-minded intuitions. And I'm much more esoteric and sophisticated. Like, the red pilloning of Theo Von is Jews are behind everything.
About something to me because I go, well, nothing is perfect. But if you're trying, if your intentions are right, if your intentions are good, I do believe there's hope for growth. And people are allowed to be mad about it. And what I didn't like, what I don't like is in the community, stabbing and going after other people in the community, because I just think it's an odd move. I don't understand it. Go off. If that's how you want to live your life, enjoy the drama. But I'm going to remove, I don't give a fuck about.
So what you get as a result of all of this drama is essentially these boomer-ass platitudes. Nah, I don't like backstabbing. Can't we all just get along? Nah, I don't fuck with that. Well, then make a stance. Community. Community this, community that.
Your judgmental opinion, because you yourself are not on high.
The way that Andrew Santino acts so high and mighty here is just so funny. Because if you guys remember, Santino seemed pretty giddy and excited while Mark Maron was bashing Joe Rogan in Austin's style of comedy. But now that Mark called him and the other Saudi Arabian comics out for performing there, now all of a sudden Santino's against everything Mark does.
I never knew Santino would get involved. He's the new drama sponge. Maybe it's just optics because all of these comedian adjacent YouTube channels just use him as the poster boy of the week. I don't know.
And now is the time that he's heroically standing up for the comedy community, along with all his poor stand-up friends that fell victim to Mark Maron's jokes. Like, he even brought up how Maron joked about Theo Von in his latest special, which everyone but Theo seems to be offended by. I mean, Joe Rogan literally blamed that joke to be the reason why Theo Von was sent into a spiral of depression. And Andrew Santino clearly thinks that Mark crossed the line with that joke. But
He plays both sides by never having a concrete take. You know, I noticed that about myself a couple years ago, is I would have to toe the line, and it was very safe and convenient for me to never actually like have grounding in anything that I say, and it's a dangerous game to play because eventually it will blow up in your face. And before that happened to me, I had to do some introspection and really kind of nail down what I value, what I believe in, how I operate, why I think the way I think, look back at my own life experiences, try to empathize with what I can. But a lot of people are just unwilling to change what they believe in, so they They never grow, they never evolve, they never adapt, they got no vision. Professional fence sitting, although very lucrative, it's not a life you want to live.
Funnily enough, the best response to it all was by Theo himself, who reacted to it with, honestly,
It's dangerous because you don't know who you are, and once you realize it's a problem, it's cognitive dissonance until you fix it. That's right.
a hilarious and perfectly put response.
People sent me, there was a clip from Mark Maron where he like said something about me
That's a good way to put it. Confront all of your beliefs.
in his comedy special.
Yeah.
And people coast through their life and they don't confront any of their beliefs because it's uncomfortable. But you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable so you can be actually comfortable.
It was like Theo would interview Hitler.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it's kind of crazy that you say that.
Well, he's
because-
dead, first of all. You can't.
Well, also, the Nelk Boys just interviewed him. So, what are we even talking about?
What we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the other side of the Maron coin, which like Mark loves to start shit. That's like his.
He
whole
loves
thing.
this right here.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even
We
have brought
shouldn't
it
even
up.
say. Yeah,
I
we don't
know.
have to. But I mean, he loves to start shit. Like that's a part of his. His discourse is talking shit. And a piece of me knows when we talk shit about people we love and we joke around about each other, there's love behind it. And I don't know if there's love behind with you and him. I don't know your relationship. The internet seems to know. They think they know fucking everyone's relationship, which is
Why not just have him on?
even more mind-boggling. But I do think.
Yeah, it's always been fine.
I always think if you joke about somebody, if it's funny and it's in jest, it's obvious. And if it's not,
Mr. Von CIA Hillbilly Maxer. Dude, I don't buy his bit at all. His shtick is not it.
it tends to be a little bit more obvious. And so I don't understand that kind of approach. I don't get it. But I also know we can all touch a lot of bases, right? Like in the sense of like, I've known Mark for a long time. He fucking annoys the shit out of me.
Andrew Santino seems like one of those guys who will say pretty much anything to please whoever's sitting in front of him on any given day. Like, he literally criticized Theo Von for having Donald Trump and other politicians on the podcast not even that long ago.
Yeah.
And I saw that they had Bernie on Schultz's show.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
He's not coming here.
Bernie? I just don't think we want politicians on
No.
the show.
No.
Yeah, people.
We shouldn't replace it. This should be its own thing.
Yeah.
This is its own form of music.
But now that Theo's sitting directly across from him, all of a sudden he's on Theo's side and is against any comedian that pokes fun at others in the community.
I mean, politics and comedy have always been intermingled. To pretend otherwise would be intellectually dishonest. You haven't been paying attention at all. In fact, many of the greatest jokes and or bits, routines are inherently political.
Of the 250. So this whole episode with Theo Von made Santino come across as pretty two-faced and rehearsed.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck about the drama. I mean, the drama is such like, grow up. Give me a fucking break. But you're right. You don't deserve to be attacked in a special. That's very strange. I think even Mark would admit, someone I've known for a long time, not been close to, but we've known him because of the store. Someone who I think he himself would admit, I would hope, that wasn't the best move to put you in a special. I mean, why? Why? You know what I mean? Sometimes I write jokes about my dad, and I'm like, why did I put that in a special? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
friend or a colleague for that matter, because you're probably not friends, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's necessary.
Maybe he just meant it as something funny, you know?
Well, look, yeah, the core of it was probably him trying to write a joke about it, but I don't think you're close enough for that to have that kind of, you
Yeah,
know,
or maybe to say, hey, what do you think about this?
that would have been great. If you say to somebody,
The jester's only job was to make fun of the king. That's right. Yo, don't forget your job, your place, comedian. You must make the king chuckle. If not, off with the head. Out the moon door.
hey man, are you cool with me doing this joke?
Yeah.
Or I'm just letting you know I'm doing this joke.
So just based on those few clips played so far, it's pretty obvious how butthurt a lot of comedians can get at
That's why the king had the jester, to never get too big-headed. That's right. It was a system. It was an inbuilt system of checks and balances to knock the king down a peg. You jest too much. Guards, cleave his penis and bring it to me.
the smallest amount of reasonable criticism. But the fact that they're some of the softest people alive shouldn't be that shocking. Especially when you think about how their line of work literally requires them to make everyone in the audience so happy to the point where they burst out in laughter. Like they deeply care what everyone thinks about them. And they will go to extreme lengths to try and fix and repair their public image wherever necessary. For example, one of the comedians...
Jester must starve Max in the dungeon after not being amusing. You joke, but there's something to be said about that. When comedians make a lot of money, they stop being funny because they're not relatable. It's the Emma Chamberlain paradox, okay? I'm showing my age here, but some of you may know who Emma Chamberlain is. She's a really famous female YouTuber, right? She got famous because she was relatable. And the paradox is relatability breeds success, and success kills relatability. It's a tale as old as time. Once you stop relating to your audience, your fellow man, it can work in some instances, but by and large, it ruins the parasocial relationship, the dynamic.
From the Riyadh festival, Aziz Ansari tried to donate his earnings from Saudi Arabia to the Human Rights Watch Foundation, and the Human Rights Watch hilariously denied it all, stating that if they accepted any of that money, that it would compromise their independence. So despite the Saudi comedians trying to repair their public perception, the damage seems to be irreversible.
That's why royalty goes incognito into the streets they govern. I mean, yeah. Yo, is that Philion? The hell?
Another comedian from the lineup, Whitney Cummings, has continued to make things worse for herself as well, because she apparently just deleted that entire portion of her podcast from a few weeks ago where she called her whole audience racist for calling out the Riyadh thing.
Why do I kind of want to get bullied by Whitney Cummings? Maybe I have a humiliation fetish. Some sort of kink going on.
Like, you think that the people of Saudi Arabia and the Saudi government
I need to get roasted by her.
all share. Okay, so you also believe that the Chinese government and the Chinese people are exactly the same. It's just racism. I think it took me a second, because when people are going like, oh, you're doing something unethical, I'm like, oh, these must be ethical people, let me listen. And then you're like, oh no, you're just racist.
And now in her most recent episodes, she's claiming that she was right all along about everything she said, without addressing any of the deletions.
Our show's in the news this week. We really break news over here. Hey, everyone. I just am going to start by saying
Whitney Cummings is horse-pilled. I'm crafting a theory about women's attraction to horses. Because horse girls are a thing. Horse guys, a cowboy, an explorer, conqueror, a king, like a man used to need a horse, right? There was an animalistic bond. Something's going on with the horse girls that nobody's bringing to attention here. Okay, maybe JP speaks of this. Maybe it's the domestication of the feral masculine. I don't know.
Righter than I've ever been. Sorry. Look, I'm realizing when someone
See, when a man rides a horse, it's real, recognized real. See, I don't know. There's something psychosexual going on with females and horses. It has to be. Maybe it's because they're packing heat. I don't know.
is mad at you on the internet, disagrees with you on the internet, I'm not, honestly, you haven't seen what I've seen, and I haven't seen what you've seen. So there's no way.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is horse girls are Morning Glory milking farm pilled.
Either of us know who we're fighting or what set of beliefs and evidence we're fighting. Like, I realized, like, because last week, I said what
I'm pretty sure that's a bracelet. That's also horse iconography. Isn't that the stirrup? Look up Catherine the Great and horses. I don't know if I want to. Whoa! She's a fan of one guy, one horse.
said, and I said, and people are like, how dare you say we're racist? I'm like, I didn't call you racist. Who are you? I'm talking about the messages I read. I don't think you were one of them. But did you see the message? If you saw the messages I read, you would have, I think, said the same.
Give a man a horse, and he becomes Genghis Khan. Give a woman a horse, she becomes a Quirk Chungus. That's all I'm saying.
Same thing.
So I think it's safe to say now that if anyone has been Brendan Schabified, it's Whitney Cummings. Because at this point, she's literally the female version of Schwab. I mean, she's buying so many botted views on her podcast lately that she's surpassing the biggest podcast in the world.
Holy! There's no way her show's pulling 1 mil, 1.7. I mean, maybe. Because I know it's not the comedy.
World with fake views, and they're most certainly botted. Okay.
Let's see here. Okay, let's see. I'll tell you right now if they're botted. Whitney Cummings. I want to know the story of that last name. One day ago, 800,000 views.
Look at your.
Okay. There's 200 comments and 1,000 likes. Hold on a second. Hello? Wait, she only has 500K subscribers? What the fuck am I looking at? 2.3 million views on one episode and 192 on another. Nah, this is brazen. This is blatant. 232 comments, 2.3 million views. Okay, for reference, if this is true, she's making tens of thousands of dollars in ad revenue on a long-form piece of content. This is insane. I get more likes on a reaction to shitness industry slop and maybe 1/100th of the views. That's crazy.
Because if you go in and click on one of these podcasts and scroll down, you'll see that there are barely 1,000 comments and likes for every single one of them, which is just unheard of on a video with over 1 million views. The comments that are there, though, are all ones critical of Cummings. Very Shab-esque, I must say. So I think it's not a reach to say that a lot of the comedians from the Riyadh Comedy Festival are only making things worse for themselves when they speak publicly about—
That's cool. I love that there's celebrities that are astroturfed into relevancy. Well, the real ones congregate in a very simple place, kick.com/Philion. I mean, you already know the fucking vibes. I don't have to tell you. But a lot of people don't seem to know. It's kick.com/Philion.
the backlash. Because up until now, everything that they've said has angered their fans even more so than before. If anything, they should take some notes from Matt McCusker and how he spoke about the festival. Because despite not being invited, what he had to say about the controversy was overall perfect, as he admitted to not even knowing too much about what goes on down there, and that he would even probably go himself since he wouldn't know any better.
The Riyadh Comedy Festival, like, you didn't go?
Steve-O gets a pass. Crazy son of a...
No, I didn't even get invited. I didn't even get invited.
Right, yeah.
But if you were invited.
To be honest, no, I swear to God, if I'm being totally honest, Shane told me he got invited, and I was like, oh, like the Saudi, what do you got? Like, is that like a go to the troops kind of thing? And he's like, no, the government
right, I saw
is
that
sponsoring
clip.
it. And I was, I don't know much about geopolitics, so I was like, aren't they like our allies? And he was like, dude, they, not really. And I was like, oh yeah, right, they were the 9/11 hijackers.
I mean,
so I don't know, man. I didn't know, for real. I honestly didn't know doing stand-up in Saudi Arabia was such a hot-button issue. And then, so I'm so glad I didn't get invited because...
Well, it's inherently just a clash of ideas, right? You have Western society, which prides itself on free speech, and then you have Sharia law sending out a fucking prerequisite, do not talk about these topics. Oh, by the way, women just started to drive in 2018. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to put two and two together. I swear to God, so many people get away with just feigning being retarded. That's why I'm so sick of this. The whole frat, chungus, sports guy, like, facade needs to stop.
Just like if like
and these people make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, millions of dollars per year, and they never actually actualize. They're just like, oh yeah, I got lucky. Dude, maybe I'm different, but the second I sniff that level of income, I'm treating it like I want to become a Renaissance man. I want to be cracked and dialed in all different areas of life. I want a history tutor. I want to master other languages. I want to be good at things. These people just get comfortable, and it pisses me off. How old was Aisha?
Hey, because your agents call you up like, it's a great opportunity. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Right.
You guys, that sounds good, So thank God.
You know why? Because it's low agency. That's why it pisses me off so much, because I'm a high agency individual, and everyone else at Third Eye Global, extremely high agency. We don't care about IQ. In fact, many of us retard max it and fail our way through life, but that's how you learn.
I'd love to say, like, I would never do that, but I might have done it, if I'm being honest.
And I'm sure that was the exact case with the majority of the
Renaissance head stack bloat max periodization. If you understand any of that, then you've been paying attention.
Performers on the lineup. Like they most certainly didn't know the extent of what goes on over there with the Saudi Arabian regime. But instead of shamelessly admitting that, like McCusker did here, they chose
Professional fence sitter.
to pretend to know what they were talking about. They defended themselves and the actions of the Saudi Arabian regime and effectively destroyed their reputations while at the same time showing everyone how easy it is for them to get triggered. But anyways, guys, with that being said, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching.
I swear the biggest joke is that all these people are considered comedians.